Good evening, Lake Orion. Well, we're back. I'm your host, and I am Between Taorminas. Yes, indeed. This is Between Taorminas here on ONTV. I'm your host, Anthony Taormina. Sammy, how you doing?
Hanging in there.
For those of you guys wondering where Ian Weatherspoon is, ladies and gentlemen, well, Ian Weatherspoon is hanging out in Seattle, Washington. Why is he hanging out in Seattle? I don't know. I don't know, people. I don't know. But nonetheless, Ian is in Seattle, Washington this week. So we're just going to do the show without him this week.
Yes.
Got a lot to talk about. Sam, you want to start?
Well, we got what happened in the Horizon League on quarterfinals. What happened to Oakland? Lost on a bad defensive scheme. You were at the Joe Louis Arena.
Yes, I was.
What happened there?
Bad assignment.
Yeah.
Kid made a great play. North made a great play.
I mean, you know, North was having a big game, 34 points.
34 points, yep.
I mean, what's going on here?
Big boy had a double-double.
Yeah, I mean, what's going on here? You know, it's sort of, I don't know what was worse, that or.
Well,
you were part of some heartbreaking losses.
Yes, I was. Well, I know that Coach Campy has said that he wants to put the blame on him. People are or OU fans are going to get angry, and he wants them to get angry at him, not at the players. He's not out there on the floor making decisions.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's unfair to blame Coach Campy for what happened out there. You know, first things first, you got to give Youngstown State some credit. You got to. They played well. They played great. They shot the ball well. They controlled tempo. They were up 10 a couple times in the game. You have to give them credit. They played well. It wasn't like Oakland played bad, but the game was played at Youngstown State's pace, where a high number of possessions, which is what Youngstown State thrives on. Oakland's kind of had to lower down their possessions a little bit, especially being much better defensively. So you've had to limit your possessions.
But what happened to Oakland? You know,
give Youngstown State a lot of
credit.
What
happened to Oakland? Well. When you look at Oakland, you know, they were the lowest points against team in the Horizon League.
Yeah.
And you have to get 81 points, you know, to
again, give Youngstown State credit. They shot the ball well. They kind of, especially early on, they were going to the offensive glass. They were out rebounding Oakland, and it's very, very rare for Oakland to get out rebounded against a team like Youngstown State. Also, Youngstown State shot the ball well. The scary part about Youngstown State is they're young. They're going to be good for them.
When you look at that upset, I mean, like, there was a lot of upsets going around the Horizon.
Oh, I know.
Of course, Milwaukee upsetting Detroit, then took down Valparaiso. And then
Milwaukee, their story is very interesting because Milwaukee, I would say, was very opportunistic. Detroit is having a very inconsistent year. Detroit was, Detroit, obviously first-year coach under Ricari
Alexander.
Yeah, and then, but Detroit's been inconsistent all year, and Milwaukee happened to catch them at a very, very good time. Then they played Valparaiso, who was number 2 overall. Valpo had just lost Alec Peters for the year with a fracture. And, Valpo very much struggles without him in the lineup. And Milwaukee happened to catch Valpo at the right time. Also, you looked at that score at halftime. It was 16-12 Milwaukee at halftime. The final score was 43-41.
That's shocking.
And then you had Green Bay go out on Monday at the hands of Illinois Chicago. You almost had all lower seeds win.
It basically
except
was.
for Northern Kentucky.
Right.
Northern Kentucky beat Wright State, but that was a very competitive game. So, I mean, you got to give it proves that the Horizon League has a lot of parity, but also this is going to be a major problem for the Horizon League because, say, for example, if Milwaukee were to win the Horizon League tournament,
they're
which
going
is
to
possible,
they're going to get a
they'll go to Dayton. They'll go to Dayton and play. You know, they'll probably go to Dayton, or it'll be a 15 or a 16 seed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not the greatest representation you want for the Horizon League.
No, you don't. I mean,
but the reality is, you got to give these teams credit for how they've performed in the tournament. Oakland, obviously, with winning the league championship, very fortunate to get the #1 seed.
And go to the NIT.
They will, I mean, in the situation where you lose, you go to the NIT. So Oakland will be in the NIT.
Okay, when you look at...
But I can see Valpo maybe going to a postseason tournament, maybe CBI. Green Bay could go to a CBI, CIT.
Let's look at Valpo. Let's look at Valpo. The loss of Alex Peters. What happened with them?
Valpo has had some other things going on. Koya, he had some academic issues that had that has prevented him from playing. And you know, there's been quite uproar towards the NCAA in particular. Valpo tried to appeal the NCAA ruling, but ultimately was not successful. They were forced to comply with the ruling. A lot of the players and coaches over there were not very happy about that because he was a very valuable member of the team. Alec Peters was wearing his jersey a couple times, and then you had that injury to Alec Peters, and it's unfortunate. Valpo has always been a team that prides itself on depth. They've always been very, very deep, and unfortunately, Valpo was not as deep as they usually are, but they do have some great players. Hemlock and Trayvon Walker, who has been an Oakland killer in the past. Last year he was not, so very fortunate on that front. But you know, Valpo has a lot of senior experience. They were projected to be the favorite to win the Horizon League, and not only did they not get the #1 seed, then make an NCAA tournament run or NIT run, you're looking at Valpo potentially making a postseason run with the record that they have, and you know, you're looking at potentially CBI, CIT, Vegas 16 for Valpo. That's not exactly what they wanted to see.
It's been a rough year for the Crusaders, you know. So I mean, not knowing that the NIT bid is not in their fact, and also
it's not
looking at possibly a CBI or CIT, maybe even a Vegas 16. You know, nobody at Valparaiso thought about the realization of wanting to get
that's just surprising.
That tournament. It's very surprising.
I mean, now Valpo's got to pay to get into a postseason tournament.
Yep.
And the question is, you wonder if they're really going to do that or not.
That's the question. Then let's look at other
Oakland's in
tournaments.
the NIT, so
let's look at the other tournaments. Let's look at the Big Ten tournament coming up, okay?
I want to talk the Summit tournament real quick. South Dakota State beat South Dakota. South Dakota was the #1 seed. So now South Dakota State is in their backyard playing Nebraska Omaha, and that will be a very interesting game.
Will be.
IUPUI ended up upsetting North Dakota State. That was an upset in that tournament. So, you know, you've got a lot of good.
There's a lot of parity.
There's a lot of parity. It seems like it. I don't know.
There's a lot of parity.
I mean, it seems like it. It really does. You know, IPFW, a team that upset Indiana, you saw, you know, you would have thought they would have been a very high seed. They were leading the Summit League at one point, and they fell off. And I would not mind seeing Oakland IPFW again.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
You want Big Ten tournament?
Well, we'll talk about Big Ten tournament next break. So we're gonna take a nice break here. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Owen TV here. Now, have you ever had the urge to create your own TV show, or you just wanted to see what goes behind the scenes of making a TV program? Well, Owen TV has just the program for you. Owen TV offers studio and field production classes that allow you to take control and create the programs the way you want them to be. we will introduce you to media literacy skills and the fundamentals of program production in order to acquire the basic training needs for ONTV equipment use. To get started, all you have to do is sign up for a free ONTV orientation, where you will learn all about ONTV and all the opportunities available to our volunteers, as well as meet the ONTV staff and take a tour of our facility. After that, you can register for one of our production courses. Both the studio and field production courses are only $10 for Lake Orion residents and $25 for non-residents. For more information about ONTV's production classes, feel free to call us at 248-393-1060 or go to orionontv.org and click Register Now to sign up for classes. We hope to see you soon.
Welcome back to Between Taorminas here on ONTV. Sammy, how you doing?
Hanging in there.
You wanted to talk about the Big Ten tournament.
This is a very interesting tournament because I'm telling you right now, Michigan ain't winning the Big Ten tournament, so don't worry about that, folks. I don't know if they're even getting in the NCAA tournament.
What?
Michigan State, they're going to get in the tournament. Don't worry. They're going to get in. I got confidence in Michigan State that they're going to get in the tournament, and Michigan's not.
What are you thinking?
Because, 1, Michigan's corporate. 2, John Atwater's corporate. 3, Bob Bridges we know is corporate. So I'm telling you right now, Michigan is not, they're not going to beat Illinois, and then they're not going to.
They can beat Illinois.
And if they would beat Illinois, let's say that's a big if, they're not beating Purdue on Friday. So I'm telling you right now.
They can beat Purdue. They just beat Purdue recently.
They're not going to beat Purdue twice. They're not going to beat them twice in one tournament. And by the way, and then it comes to me, got Michigan State. Michigan State's going to have no problem with Minnesota if they get there. And then I think they're going to have no problem with whoever.
They got to play either Nebraska or Penn State.
I know the Penn State game, that was a fluke. And then Nebraska, Michigan State
That was a fluke?
The Nebraska
Penn State
game
beat Michigan State.
The Nebraska game, Michigan State can beat them. They've beaten them twice already. I know it's hard to beat a team 3 times,
yes,
but Nebraska's not very good. So I'm telling you right now, Michigan State, all they have to do is they're going to beat Nebraska, because I think Nebraska's beating Penn State. And then I think that Michigan State can beat Minnesota. And I think Michigan State, they're going to get that big-time win, beat Purdue, get the Big Ten championship game, and I think they're going to repeat as Big Ten conference champions.
Wow.
Yep.
So you think Michigan has no chance?
Nope.
Why?
Because they have no rebounding inside.
What have they been doing the last few games?
They have not done anything. All they do is shoot threes. That's all they do.
Didn't the last time Michigan State and Michigan play, you know what happened, right?
I try not to talk about it.
Yeah, I think, you remember quite well. It was 29 points. Probably one of the tied for the most biggest beatdown in the history of that rivalry.
Yeah, because Bob Bridges and John Atwater paid the refs.
What? What are you
Those two
talking
paid
about?
the refs.
Michigan played well.
They paid the refs.
They played well.
They paid the refs.
Gosh. Are you in denial?
Nope.
No wonder why Bob calls you dimmerous traitor, terrible traitor, Taormina.
I'm not that, and I'm a winner.
You're a winner? You just said on this show you're a loser.
I'm not a loser. I'm a winner.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. So, speaking of other than Michigan State, who do you see winning? Who do you see has a good shot in the Big Ten? Maryland?
Yep.
What about Wisconsin?
No. They're struggling. They have not played very well. So, recently, Wisconsin's really been struggling.
Anything can happen in the Big Ten tournament.
Oh, I agree. I think Maryland's a dark horse team. I think Maryland's a dark horse team.
You really think so?
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, any final thoughts on college basketball?
Well, watch out for Northwestern in the Big Ten tournament.
Yes, Northwestern could be a very scary team.
We'll see what happens. I think the Big Ten gets at least 7 or 8 teams in the tournament.
You think so? There was talk about maybe 4 or 5.
Yes, I know.
There's been talk.
I think they're going to get 7 or 8.
What if Michigan State and Michigan ever had the NIT?
Michigan State going to go to the NIT. Michigan's going to the NIT.
I think you're nuts. Anyways, let's talk about something that's dear to your heart. High school basketball. Girls had their districts recently. What's your take about that?
When you look at the Lake Orion district, of course, Waterford Kettering won the district.
Yep.
Beat Clarkston. I thought Clarkston looked spotty at times, to be honest with you. there's a difference from playing in a tough part of the bracket compared to the softer side of the bracket. When you look at what Clarkson had to go through,
Clarkson had to play Pontiac.
They had to play
and
Pontiac.
They had to play
Pontiac's not very good. Oxford, Oxford had a really nice year. When you look at Mel Moore, Simone Evans. But then they ran into Waterford Kettering. Of course, Waterford Kettering, this is probably the deepest Waterford Kettering team I've seen in a long time.
Are you sure? I don't think so. Last year was deeper.
Last year was pretty deep, but
last year was deeper than this
year's team at Waterford Kettering they're deep. I mean, they're still deep. I mean, I think Lake Orion can learn something a little bit from Waterford Kettering, which is if you want to be a good team, you're going to have to get deeper. You're going to have to rebound. You're going to have to get consistent shooting from inside and out. I mean,
you said that Kettering had the tougher run than Clarkston.
Yes, they did, because when you're playing a team like Lake Orion in
the host school,
and then you have to play Waterford Mott, your arch rival. I mean, it's not an easy road, because those are teams that Waterford Mott this year had a really down year. I mean, I know Michelle Scar is a heck of a coach. And then when you look at Lake Orion, of course, Kevin Kopech can really coach. I mean, but the thing is, Waterford Kettering's a very good team. They got experience, and they're doing this without their best player, Lilia Schoof. I think Maddie Case has had a really nice career at Waterford Kettering. But Marissa Brady's really started to get going. And, of course, they have Claire Braga, and, of course, the girl inside. I think she had a really big game, big district. And I think, with those two girls, I still think Waterford Kettering's going to they got some issues at the small forward spot that they're going to have to address, and I think Scott Woodhall will address that next season.
Scott Woodhall would like this post.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm telling you, I think when you look at the girls' basketball future, I think Lake Orion's going to be all right next year. When you look at Clarkson's going to be very good. When you look at Lake Orion, and they could take a page from Waterford Kettering's book, as I mentioned. They have to get deeper. They have to get more consistency. They have to get more. Especially inside out. Can't take bad shots. You can't take. You got to get deeper, because you see what Waterford Kettering did. They went at least 8, 9, 10 deep, and then you look at them.
They went 7 deep, mostly in districts.
Right, but they go 8. They go between 8 and 9 deep. I mean, so basically, they got to get. There's a lot of things I think Lake Orion's girls basketball team has to address, has to fix. Rebounding, get size inside, and also consistency, and also depth. I think those are the things they must need if they're going to get better going forward.
Do you see Lake Orion in the red or in the white?
I think they're going to be in the white next year. I think that when you look at the divisions, how they are,
they could be in the red.
They could be in the red, but I just think at the end of the day, I think they're going to be in the white, because when you look at what Adams did this year, of course they were not very good this year. Win a district. You look at there's some really good powerhouse teams in there. Southfield Arts and Tech's very good. Clarkston's there. I mean,
What about Bloomfield Hills and Royal Oak? Both those teams finished ahead of Lake Orion standings.
I don't think Bloomfield Hills going to be very. I think they're going to be okay next year. And when you look at them,
very good.
I don't think they're going to be as strong as they were this year. Royal Oak next year, I think probably the team that is red worthy when you look at who they returned. Samantha Potter, Jessica Adams. I mean, those two girls are back.
But obviously, Royal Oak might not want to go.
They might not want to go, but they might be forced.
So we'll have to see what
happens.
We'll have to see what happens. So we have boys districts this week. Obviously, we've heard an upset was already occurred.
Yep.
With Pontiac and Oxford.
That was shocking.
Pontiac
was really shocking.
A team of. They've always seemed to be a team of that is really unknown.
That was shocking to me, because we'll get this next segment. We'll get this next segment. We'll talk about that.
All right. All right, we'll be right back between Taorminas on ONTV. Hello, Lake Orion. It's Anthony Taormina, co-host of Between Taorminas. I want to let you know of a new show called History Now. In it, we're going to talk about global, national, and political events that occur in our lifetime. We're going to also have guests and also have co-hosts as well, and also plenty of surprises. Catch us on History Now here on ONTV.
Hello, Oakland County. This is Sammy Taormina talking OAA Now. In it, we'll talk various stories from ranging from the state to Oakland County teams affecting the OAA. Catch us here on OAA Now.
Welcome back to Between Taorminas here on ONTV. Sammy, how you doing?
Hanging in there.
We were going to talk about the boys' districts. One question I wonder, and this is not without intending to disrespect anybody, but do you think that the districts, with the way that they are right now, you've got the district set up with Lake Orion, Clarkston, Oxford, Pontiac, Kettering, and Mott. There's been some talk about potentially regionalizing from the MHSA.
Where would you get the regionalized thing? Would you rather regionalize from? I would like a region where you would go south to north. You know what I mean? Basically, if you're like Lake Orion, northwest, like a Linden, Holly, Grand Blanc, Fenton.
You'd have to include Clarkston.
You have to include Clarkston, but if you send Lake Orion east, then you're going to have to play Macomb County, which I think is very dangerous because you got Macomb, Dakota in there. So
yeah.
Basically, when you look at it, it's interesting, but we'll see. I mean, there's been talk that they could do it next year.
There's been some talk throughout the state that they're considering doing both basketball and volleyball in that way.
There's been talk. We'll see what happens in June.
Yeah.
Let's talk about. You said about the upset, of course, before we went
Pontiac
to break.
and Oxford. Yes.
Pontiac came in 3-16, and Oxford had one of their best years in school history. They were 16-4.
Most wins in school history.
And Pontiac just comes out of nowhere. Very young team, upsets Oxford. Oxford's got a team with 10 seniors. Especially when you look at those three players they had: Jordan Jaden, Ray Levine, and Jem Lavalis. Those are games where I was shocked how Pontiac. I was shocked how Pontiac used their athleticism and size just to go and just whip Oxford inside. It wasn't even funny. They just beat them up inside, and it wasn't even funny because you look at Michael Reyes, your sophomore. He was literally just tortured all night by Pontiac's big inside. He had 30 points. I mean, he had 4 and 1s. I mean, it really just. It just tells me that you got to throw the records out. Pontiac had a clean slate to start. Everybody has a clean slate to start in districts. You're 0-0. You're one and done.
But looking at
see what happened to
it makes you
Oxford.
wonder about strength of schedule. I mean, Groves is athletic, but is Pontiac that athletic?
Pontiac is athletic.
I know they're athletic, but I mean
Josh Schroeder took over a tough situation with Ben Kelso. So I got to give him a lot of credit, because he built, they won 3 games. I mean, and they were 0-10 in the league. They're 0-10 in the league. He's trying to build a program over there. And it's not easy to do over at Pontiac, a place where it's was very unstable financially, very unstable as a school.
You don't know if they're going to have a school.
They're going to have a school next year because I just found out recently they are going to have a school. It's in the Detroit News.
Well, that's good.
They're going to have a school next year. So
that's good. So they'll have teams.
Yeah, they'll have teams next year.
That's good.
So basically what I'm saying is, Josh Schroeder's building a program there. It's going to be hard, though.
Right.
He's got a lot of players coming back next year.
That's true.
Pontiac's a very young basketball team. Now, what they did to Oxford, I'm shocked because,
Pontiac needs to bring back their freshman team. I know because of money, but they need to bring back their freshman team.
They have to.
They should. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous that
they don't have a freshman
they don't
team.
have one. It's ridiculous.
I understand the money situation, but still,
It don't matter. You got to have a freshman team. I mean, we'll see.
We will see. But, I mean, you got to give Pontiac credit. Also give Oxford credit for the season they've had.
Yeah, 16-4.
16-4. I mean,
we'll talk about this in the podcast. You know what I mean? We'll talk about this.
Obviously, Lake Orion playing Clarkston. Clarkston has 2, maybe 3 Division I caliber players. Lake Orion, very young team, hardworking team. Very competitive team. Every team that they've played, they've said Lake Orion's given them a battle. Stony Creek, Oxford, Seaholm. Rochester. Obviously, Clarkston's a very much a different animal.
This is going to be tough, and I'll tell you why.
Lake Orion will fight.
Lake Orion's going to fight, there's no doubt. But when you have a guy, Milwaukee-bound Dylan Alderson, Michigan State-bound Junior Foster Lawyer, and C.J. Robinson, who I think is going to go D1, I think it's going to be very tough. But when you look at the situation, how this is going to be, I mean, Clarkston, what they did to Waterford Mott was just absolutely just a torture chamber. 56-point deficit win for Clarkston over Waterford Mott. I mean, when you have three players.
It was 79-11 last year at Mott.
79-11 last year at
between
Mott.
Clarkston and Mott.
I mean, if this is like a mismatch in destiny, why would these two teams play each other? I mean,
they always play each other every year in the regular season. I think that
Clarkston and Mott I'm talking about. Not Lake
Clarkston
Orion
Mott.
Clarkston,
Okay.
I mean, now Lake Orion and Clarkston, it's kind of funny because Orion was the only team non-league team non-league that played Clarkston,
non-league or
crossover that played Clarkston. So that tells me that I think that gives a lot of respect out of there. You know what I mean? Because when you look at
Clarkston doesn't play a lot of OA teams in non-conference.
No,
Lake Orion's the only one that does.
They don't play a lot of OA teams in the non-conference, and Lake Orion was the only team that Clarkston played in the non-conference when it not crossover nor in league. So basically, so it'll be interesting to see between those two. I think Lake Orion's going to put up a fight, but at the end of the day, I just don't know. I don't think they have the firepower to beat Clarkston.
I think Clarkston's the best team in the district.
They are.
They're
the best team in the district. They could be.
But here's what is interesting about what's happening with Clarkston. And you've got the winner of our district is playing the winner of the Macomb, Dakota district.
Which is going to be Macomb, Dakota.
Which will probably. So you're imagining, how fair is that when you've got two of the better teams?
It's not fair.
Most likely
it's
playing
not fair,
each other.
and that's why you got to go to regional format.
That's why the argument goes to regional.
That's why the argument goes to regional format, because if you think about it, you put
last year. Let's use last year as an example. Clarkston won the district.
Right.
Macomb, Dakota won their district. They play each other in the semifinal. Those are two of the top 10 teams in the state.
And then
you've got
that one of those teams has to go home.
Volleyball. You've got Lake Orion and Clarkston, two of the top teams in the state, playing each other in a district final. That should be a regional final.
It is a regional.
That should be a regional final.
It should be a regional final. It should be a quarterfinal. It should be a state semifinal.
I know.
Because when you look at that situation, this is why you need to go regional. This is why. Or if you think about it,
they should face the matches by record. I mean, get everybody in there, base it on record.
Base that record, and then you
go from there.
Yeah, go from there.
Still play your 20 games, but base it on record.
Right.
Base the matchups on record. Have probably the top team host or something like that.
Top team host.
And then have like they do it perfectly in lacrosse, but that's because there's a lower amount of teams that are in there. Can you do it for basketball and volleyball?
Yes, you can. You can do it. The NCAA does it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Think about it.
The MHSA. You think the MHSA
is going to have to go more regional eventually? Yes.
All right. So I mean that's a good question to bring up about the regional formatting and all that.
And then of course other sports, NBA Pistons 1.17 seed right now.
Mm-hmm. They're 7th seed right now.
We'll see what happens with them.
They're still they're 7th seed last year at the Palace, so
we got to wrap up. Yep, we got to wrap up. You know what I mean? So how fun it is.
Mm-hmm. All right, ladies and gentlemen, check back on episodes of Between Taorminas, also History Now and OA Now. All right, Lake Orion, have a great night and see you soon.